Never tell your enemy your plans. I learnt that from a freedom of speech lawyer. I'll tell you how to deal with bullying in brief. My name's Poppy. I'm a psychotherapist, psychologist, coach. I work for you. I'm unaffiliated because freedom of speech is not a thing in healthcare. That don't work for me. Bullying. Again, an attempt to get leverage over someone. Make that you do it their way. That happened to me recently. And it's a pretty hideous, long story. You can watch the other videos. However, I think we've nailed it today. These are not my enemies. I don't get to see them that way. These are my brothers and sisters who don't know better in my mind. So the law's been broken. I've been abused, if you want to put it that way, and harassed, and no. And my point with any kind of bullying or behaviour that's not okay is we get to call it out and follow through. In my case, go through the proper channels in order to make sure this doesn't happen to another person. Apparently it's happened to people before me by this same man. So I was coming home thinking, what did I do here that worked? And the main piece, and I recommend this for any challenge, is I dealt with it upstream. And what I mean by that is, for example, I was just going back to the store. There's one store that has the things I need in this very small town, and he works in there, this security guard. And whilst apparently he's been taught now what the legal requirements are and how he needs to respect that and not bully people and so on, what I did do is I called the store and spoke to the manager. So my lawyer friend would have said, don't tell your enemy your plans. As a psychologist, what I know is we feel much more secure when we know what we're dealing with up front. No surprises, that we declare and assert and take accountability for what we're doing and why. So I called the store and said to the manager, here's the deal. Coming into the store, I'm mindful it's the same day. I'm guessing he's there. Yes, apparently he's had training. However, I said, here's the thing. I'd like to come into the store. I will be recording for my reference in case anything goes wrong. He said, nothing will go wrong. I'll be there. How would it be if I separate the two of you so I'll tell him to leave the floor? And I said, that's very nice of you, thank you. He said, nothing will happen. I said, that's great. However, things have happened before. This is not my first rodeo. So I'm having my back. Yes, we can record. Particularly if you feel a criminal offence could take place, you can record anywhere in the world if you choose. Please don't let people blackmail and bully you and undermine you. You have inalienable rights wherever you live on planet Earth. They are God-given. One of them, for example, is freedom of speech. The other is the pursuit of happiness. There are others that say right to the roof over your head, access to safe food and water, and to feel safe. That's a big one. So we get to do what we need to do in order to feel safe. So what I did say to him is, you know, I'm protecting all anonymity. I'll be very sensitive about how I record. I'm not going to stick it in people's faces. However, it will be in my hand, my phone. And to be clear, though, if he comes for me and the same kind of stuff happens, I will record his face and I will put it on social media. And he said, I'll make sure that he doesn't do this again. I said, good, that would be wonderful. So I just went to the store. The manager was there, it was very lovely. People now apparently know the law. This is all around service animals. We get to respect the law. People have service animals and we get to feel safe having them. That's what they're there for in the first instance. The Equality Act in Britain 2010 and section 173, I think it is, for service animals. We can take them anywhere. We cannot be told no, unless it's a tattoo parlour or a surgery room. So we get to be respectful about this. The main thing that worked for me, and it always does, is I told my enemy my plans. They're not my enemy. They're my brothers and sisters. So we get to pick how we think about things. What I said is, this is what I'll be doing. I'm coming in, I'm recording, I'm going to be very kind about it, protect anonymity. However, if it gets very bad and you cross the boundaries that I'm telling you I've made with me and I'm asserting to you, if the boundary gets crossed, I will record. I am recording. I will put the face out there for the public. And I have quite a following. Not a huge one. We get to follow who resonates with us. However, across all platforms, 100,000 and more. And he said, okay. So I went in, I was very kind, it was very much my baseline behaviour. And that's where we're left. Sometimes it really helps to talk about what our plans are so that other people have time to compute it, to hear it, and then what they do is on them. What I could have done is go into the store all aggressive, expecting a fight, filming, putting the thing in people's faces, being reactive and wounded. So instead I was responsive and wounded, if that makes sense. So thank you for you. If you'd like help with your own boundaries and triggers and so on, Thrive Boundaries Mastery is here up at the top link or in the feed. You're very welcome to have it. You've got 90 days access. And whilst it was nearly £300 recently, you get to know your rights, your boundaries, what's a yes, what's a no, and how to have the conversations directly that matter to you. So you get to have access and pay what you feel you can do currently. Sending love.